All right, hey everyone. So welcome to the Lathisms Scholarship 2024 Q&A session.
I can go ahead and get started. So the three people who will be leading this Q&A are all of the Lathisms Scholarship co-chairs. So we are the co-chairs that will be in charge of the entire review process and have been doing a lot of edits and development for the application. My name is Daniel Cruz. I am a postdoctoral associate at the University of Florida, and this is my second year chairing this committee. And I'll pass it over to Daniel.
Yeah, so my name is Daniel Serrano, and I work at the University of Maryland College Park, where I serve as mentor to undergraduate students and graduate students. I'm also part of the scholarship committee. I'm with Daniel.
And then go for it.
Yeah, and I'm Ryan. I'm an assistant professor at California State University, East Bay. Um, and this is also my second year as part of the scholarship committee here in South Lathisms.
This session is going to primarily be for you to ask anything that you have in mind, but we did want to get started with a quick sort of overview of the scholarship itself, just to kind of like remind you about the website. So, if you're here, um, we are assuming that you have gone over the website, potentially also even the application form, but I just wanted to kind of scroll through it a little bit quickly. If you go to lathisms.org and you go to the scholarships section of the website, you'll find this page with all the information, all the details about the scholarship. So, it gives you a description, it gives you what the eligibility requirements are, information about the application, what materials are expected in the application with a bunch of detail about them. One of them that's important is the written responses. So, it describes what you are expected to provide in terms of two sets of statements. And then it has the rubric that is going to be used by the reviewers to evaluate the application. So this is a important aspect to keep in mind and kind of take a look and as you're writing those two responses to understand how they will be evaluated. And then finally, once you scroll all the way down, that's where you are able to reach the application itself with this button here. And so when you go there, you will see it basically has these sets of questions. At the beginning, many of them are just demographic kind of questions. So you can scroll down through those, and then it ends with these two statements, where you describe the different aspects that are evaluated through the rubric. And then finally, just as a note, in case that you require more than 4,000 characters per each of these statements, there's an optional box here where you can add more, up to 4,000 more characters. So with that said, I think we're going to move on to just the questions. We have collected some questions that were already done ahead of time. And we're going to start us off with those. But then as we go, we encourage you to start thinking about the questions that you want to ask. Since we're recording this, our preferred mode would be for you to just type your question in the chat, and then Danielle will be reading those, anonymously, so that we can just address the questions as they come. But yeah, I'll pass it over to Danielle for the questions that we have pre-collected.
So as Daniel said, you know, if you uh, if you want, you can message publicly or you can message me privately, and then I will read them anonymously. And I'm just putting that reminder for anybody else who might join. So the first question that we had from the survey for somebody who could not join was this question that as a mathematics major, how would this scholarship boost my resume for applying for a career or internship related to mathematics? And well, I suppose all three of us can sort of chime in on on this as we wish. But I think one of the first things that is worth mentioning is that in general, scholarship is always going to be something that looks good on your resume. And in particular, in regards to our scholarship, we really tailored the criteria to be about your life experiences, to be about your engagement in mathematics and everything else. And so what we're hoping is that as you think about the questions that you're answering for the scholarship, that would also be something that would carry over, if you're applying for any kind of position in mathematical sciences, any internship or something else like that. Usually these are the same types of things that they want to gauge how interested in you are you in that career and everything else. So this helps you over, and then you can explicitly state for whatever the application is, internship, whatever it is, like this is in line, the scholarship that I got is in line with this sort of thing. Danielle or Ryan, I don't know if either of you wanted to add into that.
I think that covered everything. And the one thing I'll mention is that for those that receive the scholarship, we will likely provide some guidance on how to put that in your resume in a way that like maximizes showing, the importance of this scholarship.
So another question that we had was, so this one was kind of specific, but I'll sort of broaden it. And so one person was asking via email if the scholarship could specifically be used for international conference travel. So they're interested in going to a conference abroad. And so I don't want to be the one who's only answering for this, but either Ryan or Danielle, do you want to take that question? If there's any restrictions on the funds from the scholarship?
But like I can answer this one. Yeah, there isn't any restrictions for like what the funds are able to be used for. And I think also in the description, I think we try to say like the scholarship is like that is like really meant to to really help like the recipient pursue whatever goals they are and stuff in the mathematical sciences. So then like that could be conference travel, or then like that could be other things of like applications, books. It could be like it could even be all like local conference travel, like it could be towards like a new device, right? And stuff. There's a range of stuff it could be used for and stuff. It's not just penciled in for only one thing and stuff. It's broad.
And the only thing that I'll add to that is just simply that we're not going to track this. So once the scholarship is, so if you are selected as a scholarship recipient and you want to be known publicly, we'll post information about you. There's also the option to remain anonymous, but either public or anonymous, we will not, you will be awarded the scholarship and we will not track the way that you spend it. It will be awarded directly to you. And so however you choose to use those funds to further your career pursuits, that's completely up to you. Okay. Another question that we got is what kind of mathematics does this scholarship focus on? Anya, maybe do you want to field this one?
Yeah, I guess the short answer is that there is no preference on any type of mathematical area or field. It really is just mathematical sciences. And to add a little bit to that, we understand that, especially for undergraduate students who are possibly not even like exactly sure what type of area they want to pursue, this is really just supporting those who are interested in the mathematical sciences and like in a way trying to understand, how they fit in that world and like how to maximize their ability to study mathematics or like pursue a career in mathematics. So really it's, there's no preference for any specific field.
And then like I would add on to that, just to really reference back to the rubric and stuff and look at the rubric, especially or like the one on the one section on like displaying enthusiasm for mathematics, right? That it is broad of where it isn't really any specific area. It is just really sharing your experiences and your enthusiasm for mathematics.
Yeah. And so we actually have another related question that I think aligns with this exactly. So somebody else asked, would a math-focused theoretical physics theoretical physics student be eligible for this scholarship? To sort of echo what Danielle and what Ryan just said, again, we try to make it really broad. We understand that, especially if you're coming in as a high school student, undergraduate student, you may still be citing what you want. So again, for this kind of stuff, you really want to look back at the questions that we have posted for the scholarship and the rubric for how we're going to evaluate your responses. What we're really looking for is enthusiasm in mathematics, enthusiasm in career mathematics, experiences associated to that, and everything else. And so if your interests reflect that that interest in mathematics, then that's what you want to put in your application. And so absolutely, if you're in math-focused theoretical physics or a more mathematical applied version of engineering or something else like that, all of these things are absolutely, you would still be absolutely eligible. It's just really a matter of thinking about this and conveying this in your application. Okay. Another question that we had was, should I put more emphasis on math clubs / organizations or life experiences for my application?
I can address that one. So the first thing to note is that there's no requirement to be involved in professional organizations or anything like that. So that's not something that you need to feel pressured that you are doing. Obviously, it's a plus if that's the case. But so in terms of the emphasis, we just want to go back to the rubric again, and convey that, like kind of like point out that there's an element of the rubric where you demonstrate enthusiasm for mathematics, and that really can be something that emerges in your life either through your involvement in math-related clubs or through your own life experiences, or both, right? So it's really a matter of going and reflecting about how it is that math fits into your life, whether that's more on the professional side, more on your personal side, or both, and then conveying that in the application.
Okay, and actually now we got a question from the chat. So it's for the committee. Thank you for hosting this Q&A. So there's two questions. So I'll read the first one, we'll answer it, then I'll go for the next one. The first one is, could this scholarship be applied towards someone who wants to become an actuary? Again, to sort of echo what we've been saying, absolutely, it could be applied to somebody who wants to become an actuary. As far as we're concerned, actuarial sciences are definitely within the realm of mathematical sciences. So absolutely. Again, the sort of thing that you want to focus on in your application for the scholarship in this case would be like how how your interests in actuarial sciences relate to mathematics. Hopefully that should be a very clear connection, right? The history for your interests and your experiences and everything else. But yeah, if you're able to convey this, absolutely. And then the second question that we had was roughly how many scholarships will be distributed this year?
So for this one, I would say we would probably be aiming to do the same as we did last year and stuff, and that would be about 10. That is roughly, right? Yeah, like I would say the same as we did last year, and that would be about 10. So.
Now, the only thing that I would add in is that we as the committee and also Lathisms as an organization is still actively looking for partnerships with other organizations to fund additional scholarships. So the scholarships are funded by donations, I should mention. So donations made to the to Lathisms organization are directly where we're getting the funding for this. So we're still fundraising. If we're able to get more funds, then we're hoping to do more than 10. And I guess an extra thing that I'll mention is that last year we had about 200 applications. A lot of those applications were really, really good. And so unfortunately, we weren't able to fund many deserving applicants. So we're hoping this year we can fund more than that. But 10 is I think, a rough estimate for starters for sure. Thank you for your questions. Okay. Did we have other questions from the participants here?
I would say something as we are waiting for any other questions. In the application, when we were looking at the application at the beginning, there were the two prompts with the extra space in order to add more. And then we really want to emphasize that the added space is exactly that, and stuff. It's just extra space and stuff. It doesn't have to be filled in. It is just from experience. There are like I would say like sometimes responses that like people have a hard time fitting into the 4,000 characters. So then we added in the extra space. But again, it doesn't have to be used at all. It isn't the expectation at all that like there is that the extra box is filled in, right? We are only looking at the two prompts. So.
Oh, and I guess something else, again, as we're waiting for more questions, something that we did notice last year with the applications is that a lot of people, when they came to talking about their experiences and stuff, sort of started putting down their resume, essentially. And I think partially that's how we had phrased the question last year, so we did a better job, I hope, this year at phrasing that question for mathematical experiences and excitement about mathematics. But just as a reminder, for that first question in the application that talks about those things, what we're looking for is an indication of your interests, your experiences, history about this that's really conveying, your focus in a mathematical career. So you don't necessarily want to think about this as just listing your work experiences or anything else like that. And if you don't have a lot of work experiences, if you're really coming in with mostly volunteering or you've been active in clubs or something else, that's perfectly fine. It's totally any kind of engagement that you have with these types of things, even if you think it's small, if something that's you're passionate about that you can talk about, absolutely, please include it, because it is something that's going to really convey that commitment to us.
I see a question came up in the Q&A section. So the question is there a preference regarding the language, English versus Spanish, in which the application should be submitted?
Ooh, this is an excellent question. And thank you for spotting that, Daniel. So the answer is that there is no preference. And one of the things that we tried to do explicitly in the rubric this year and also on the website is mention that you're not going to be evaluated in terms of the language that you choose to respond, if it's English or Spanish. We understand that a lot of the applicants, maybe they are more comfortable in a language that's not English. And so, we know that even if you could write the application in English, you might be more comfortable expressing yourself in Spanish, for example. And we actually have, at this point, within the volunteers who are going to be reviewing applications, I want to say something like 75% of them are fluent in Spanish. And so if you're far more comfortable writing your entire application in Spanish, please do so. We have people who can review your applications in that language. So, absolutely feel free to do so. And I will say in the future, so this is something that we're working on, is we're trying to see about getting reviewers who would be fluent in Portuguese as well, since we do know that there are also a lot of people, Hispanic/Latinx applicants, who would be more comfortable in Portuguese. So we're working on that, but definitely for sure at this point, English or Spanish. And again, you will not be judged by any means on your fluency in this language, your proficiency. This is not that sort of application by any means. So thank you for the question. I think something else, as we wait for more questions that we can comment on as well, is that we do have a posted timeline for review. So we're very fortunate this year to have a lot of volunteers for reviewing applications. I know that last year there was a bit of a wait time in getting everything set up and everything else. So this time around, we're really hoping that during the months of March and April, all of the applications will be reviewed. And so what we're hoping to do is to get back to applicants essentially around May or so to let them know if they have been selected or not. And the idea here is that we're really trying to get you this decision in case you want to use the scholarship funds for something over the summer, for fall, anything towards tuition or anything else like that. So that is the timeline. Again, we've got it posted on the webpage. Yeah, so that's the kind of timeline that you should expect.
So I have a question. How is the award distributed to those who receive it? Is it a check or something like that?
This is a great question. Do you want to go for it, Brent?
Yeah. So I could say from last year, the two I would say the two methods we used were either Zelle payments or checks. I think a majority of people, I want to say a majority, used Zelle, and there were also a handful that did check and stuff. I want to check. So it is really up to the recipient and stuff, and I'm the one who like works with the recipient on how how they would want to receive it. And yeah, like I would say it's primarily those two methods that we used.
I think one of the things that's also worth mentioning is that this anonymity clause that we have essentially as part of the webpage. And so one of the things that we're aware of that can be very sensitive is that there's a lot of applicants who may, you know, who may be undocumented, DACA recipients, or for whatever other reason they may want to choose to remain anonymous. This choice that you have will not affect how we evaluate your application at all. So you don't have to worry about this. Everything we try to keep as sensitive as possible. And we keep it all anonymous essentially for the evaluations. And then if you are selected, we will ask you if you would like to remain anonymous or not. Again, it won't affect the distribution of funds, the speed, or anything else like that. So we're perfectly happy to respect that. The only thing that we typically end up doing is we'll mention the number of applicants that have been awarded, and then possibly, we'll say like an applicant from this state who has chosen to remain anonymous has also been awarded something of this sort. So keep this information anonymous. It won't affect how it's evaluated. No. Oh, so we have another question in the chat. So will we be notified if we are not a recipient? So this is a good question. So the short answer is yes. The maybe longer answer is what we'll do is based on the amount of funding that we have and the number of recipients that we have, we will contact those individuals first and let them know that they are recipients. If we have additional funding that comes through within this window of evaluation, everything else, we may end up choosing, having the ability in essence to choose additional recipients. But by the time the entire cycle is closed, we will let everyone, so we will email all applicants to let them know, hey, all the application recipients have been identified. And then at that point, you will know for sure whether or not you've been selected as a recipient. The entire process, again, we're going to try to make it really lean, so we're not, we don't want to keep you guessing or anything of that sort. And really the only thing is, hopefully we'll get more funding so that we can award more scholarships, and that would be the only thing. And then one of the things that we also wanted to mention, so I sent this email out to the applicants from last year, is that you're always welcome to apply again for the scholarship next year, whether you receive it or not. We do have a slight preference when it comes to applicants who have not received the scholarship previously, but we do understand that circumstances change. So if you are awarded the scholarship this year, and you do still have a strong application next year, maybe some other things have come up and everything else, please always feel free to apply again. And certainly if you weren't awarded this time around, it's not as I said, last year we had a lot of applicants that had really strong applications that we just unfortunately couldn't fund. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens again. So you're always welcome to apply again. And we're always sort of looking for more donation and everything else to increase the number of recipients. Oh, I do remember that we did get emailed a question, and if I remember correctly, yes. So the question was, in essence, if you are a master's student, could you apply for the scholarship? Danielle or Ryan, do either of you want to field this question?
Short answer is yes.
Yeah, just solidly. So the scholarship is open for any current or prospective undergraduate and graduate students. That includes masters, that includes high school students who will be transitioning over into undergrad, that includes people who are interested in doing a master's, a PhD. So as long as you're current or prospective, you're absolutely eligible. We understand that at any point in time, essentially along your academic career, along your professional career, you may need these funds and everything else. So absolutely.
And then like that would also include post-bac as well. Right. So
for sure. And I guess as an extra little thing, so so when you do the application and everything else, if you're selected as a recipient, one of the few things that we ask for, and we'll keep this anonymous if you wish, well, we'll keep this sort of anonymous anyways, I guess I should say, is we just want to verify that you are indeed a current or prospective student. So if you're a current student, as you can see from the webpage, we'll just ask for some proof of enrollment at whatever institution you are. For any of these things, we are not asking you to pay for transcripts or anything of the sort. We mentioned some options that should be completely free. So unofficial transcripts, an ID from your institution, something else like that. Anything that is a legal document or some kind of legal form to show that you're a current student. And then if you're a prospective student, maybe you've taken a leave of absence, maybe you just graduated or something else, all of that is perfectly fine. Again, it's usually, some kind of proof that you just finished a program, a degree, or something else like that, or some proof that you're on leave or something of the sort. We include all of this in the webpage, but we just want to always make it clear, like that's the only thing that we'll ask for as an additional sort of verification, and that won't be made public or anything of the sort. We just want to make sure that we're verifying your eligibility in essence. Oh, I think that, so this wasn't exactly a question, but this did come up recently, so I also wanted to mention this as well. So unfortunately, the application does not automatically send you confirmation when you've applied. That is not an automatic thing that is sent. So what we're doing instead, since we know that this is an issue, is that we are, at this point, every week, we're sending a confirmation email to people who applied within the course of that week. And so at some point, you will receive a confirmation. If you're curious, if you're worried, if you're thinking like, oh, maybe my application didn't go through, always feel free to email us, scholarships@lathisms.org. The email is also on the website and everything else, and we'll be able to double check for you. But yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a notification that's automatic for you, but you will receive a confirmation email. And as part of that confirmation email, when you do apply, it mentions that you can edit your application. So we're totally happy for you to start your application, save it, come back to it, or something else of that sort. You can edit it right up until the deadline. And so if you want to come back to it, if you feel that, maybe you want to change the way you phrase something or something of the sort, you're absolutely welcome to do so. The review of applications is not going to start until after the deadline. So, feel free to go back to it as you wish, and as many times as you wish. Okay, well, so since there aren't any more questions, I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up a little bit early. Thank you to everybody who was able to attend. We will post this video up online on the website. So there will be a YouTube link for it and everything else. It'll be hosted by the Lathisms YouTube channel. So you could feel free to refer back. And then if you come up with a question that we weren't able to get to, if if anything sort of comes up and everything else, you're always able to reach out to us. Again, the email address. So if you don't remember it right now, that's okay. But if you go to the scholarship's website at the very bottom, scholarship@lathisms.org, I'll go ahead and actually put it in the chat just so that everyone can have it. So give me 1 second. There we are. So there we go. Always feel free to reach out with any questions. Again, thank you so much for joining. And we hope that you apply, and we look forward to reading your applications.
Good luck with your applications.
Yes.